What's going on, everybody? Today we are going to talk a little bit about Liverpool after their 7-2 defeat to Aston Villa. Now, the game itself, well, we can talk about the whole thing. Why not? The game itself, Liverpool come out slow. Early mistake from Adrian. Sets Aston Villa off. And then it just kind of proceeds to get worse from there. Liverpool come back into it a little bit. Then Villa hit them once again on the break. 2-0. Salah pulls one back. Then a deflection. The free kick. A couple more deflections in there. And it just continues to get worse. But let's get something straight right from the beginning. Aston Villa probably could have scored a couple more. It was one of those games where every time they got past the halfway line, they looked like scoring. And today, the main topic of this video isn't necessarily the game, but it is Liverpool's complacency problem. They have a serious complacency problem. And for those who watch Liverpool week in and week out, you'll know, and you'll jump into a game or the game will start, and in the first 5 or 10 minutes you'll know if this is going to be difficult or if it's going to be easy. Liverpool, when you saw it to start the Aston Villa game, for the first 4 minutes before any goals went in, before the Adrian mistake, it was all Aston Villa. Liverpool barely got a touch on the ball. Pressing was not great. Villa were moving the ball around pretty well, moving through the midfield rather easily, moving up the pitch easily, and then eventually the goal went in, and it, maybe settled down for a couple minutes after that before the second one went in, and then it just kind of continued to get worse. But as we said, this happens a lot more than people who don't watch Liverpool every single week may not think this is a serious problem, but if you watch Liverpool week in and week out, as I said, in the first 10 minutes what type of game it's going to be. And the problem is, it seems that they only get up for big games. And they came back from the break, had that tough one with Everton. Those games are always tough. A derby, regardless of who you're playing, those are going to be tough. And then the second game was Crystal Palace, where they really only needed the 3 points to win the title. And they played probably their best all year, won 4-0. Created a bunch of chances, were in control from the first minute to the last, and it was a great display. And then from then on, it was kind of just all the way to the end. And then they got to the final game where they seemed interested, went 4-1 up, it finished 5-3, and that's how this last season ran, excuse me. And then, excuse my phone, and then the new season's begun. Came out against Leeds, scored the early goal, kind of fell off it a little bit. And to be fair to them, Leeds seem like they're going to do this to everybody and cause problems. And it's not something that too many teams have seen, especially with teams playing Leeds in the Championship and sitting back. But then we went into the Chelsea game where they were dominant throughout, and then the Arsenal game where they were also dominant throughout. And they looked right from the beginning. The pressing was great, especially in the Chelsea game. And the Arsenal game. They were pressing brilliantly, preventing anybody from having any time on the ball, controlling the ball well. And then something happened in the Aston Villa game where they seemed to walk into the stadium thinking they're going to win games on their pedigree, and that is problematic, obviously. And games like the 7-2 may be an extreme outlier, but from the beginning you knew there was an issue, and that needs to be ironed out quickly for Liverpool. I mean, it also comes along with some of these players not having a ton of pressure. Jota and Thiago are two really good signings. One, because there's quality there, obviously, and two, they're going to push these players who don't really have anyone pushing them to be better. And Jota especially was one of the only real bright spots yesterday during the Aston Villa game, and hopefully he can push the front three up a level. That would be ideal, but somebody somewhere needs to push Trent, and somebody needs to push the back two. Van Dijk, Gomez especially. Gomez seems, as I said, him and Trent especially, defensively aren't... Trent isn't great defensively. He's just not. Gomez has games where he's really, really good, and then games yesterday where he's really, really bad. It's not great. They have games like that, but Trent and him seem to emotionally or mentally be on the same plane, where they both don't seem to really be into it too much. Trent hasn't seemed into a game since the comeback, really. He hasn't been particularly great. Disinterested looking, and that might be from that might come from winning every trophy really before the age of 22. But someone or something needs to push Trent a little bit more, and maybe, I don't know, maybe there might be some issues there, how he would react if Neco maybe got 2 or 3 starts in a row. Is he the type of player to push back, or is he the type of player to, continue to fade? It's, and that mentally may mess with him a little bit. I don't know, but Liverpool desperately miss Henderson, who definitely wouldn't be... If Henderson was on the pitch yesterday, there'd be no way that this finishes 7-2. There'd be no way. It'd be completely different. Henderson could be losing 4 or 5-0, and he'd be out there pushing, and he'd be pointing, and he'd be screaming, and he wouldn't be letting that stuff happen, and that's something that Liverpool have to look at. Van Dijk, really casual. He has games where he's really casual. Obviously, when we were doing the Leeds game, the 2 games that have given Liverpool trouble to start the new season, the back line was casual. Van Dijk has been casual. And that might... I don't know. Those are things that have to get fixed. How casual they are coming into games like this. Henderson, when he's back, he should, after the international break, he should be 100% fit. He was on the bench yesterday, and then he'll have an extra week, 2 weeks essentially, to really get fit, and he 100% has to start next time out, regardless of who they're playing. I believe it's Everton. Regardless of who they're playing, he 100% has to start. Someone has to push Trent a little bit. If Matip is back, maybe he slots in for Gomez. There has to be a couple of changes, and there has to be a better mentality for games that, quote-unquote, don't matter. Games that you should win. There has to be a mentality change. Complacency is a serious, serious issue here, and we'll see how it goes. Hopefully, once everything starts to gel and move forward, and Thiago and everybody, Mane's back fit, there are players, everybody's fit, everybody's raring to go. Maybe things like this don't happen, but Liverpool have to make sure that this is a blip and just a one-off, and not something that turns into a serious issue. And Klopp himself has that Dortmund thing hanging over him, where they won 2 titles or a title, and then the next year we're in the relegation zone before he left. That is something that's going to loom in every Liverpool player's head. Well, not the players, at least the fans, at least. That's going to loom around, and hopefully that might not be a mentality thing. I know mentally some of these players never switch off. Mane, Henderson, Milner, Robertson. There are players here where they do not switch off. But it seems that there are players, Trent, Gomez, Van Dijk, I guess, after yesterday, where they seem to switch off in games that they should win, theoretically. So it is problematic, guys. But let me know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. How Liverpool come back for this. Do they come back from this stronger? We shall see, guys. But that is going to be it. I hope you've enjoyed it. Stay tuned for more. And peace.